It's me. Good morning to everyone who's here. Sorry about the abrupt start there. Good morning to everyone who celebrates. So far, all I see is Chase. I see nobody else. Chase says he spent it by Lake Okoboji out in the northwest part of Iowa. Chase says, "Isn't it true that you once told me that it was one of America's only two true green lakes or something because it has a thermal inversion in it or something?" Some kind of nonsense about how it's such a great lake. I've been to Okoboji. I mean, I've been near it. I haven't been in the water, and I think it's one of those Midwest things where it's like this is as good as it gets for about 300 miles. So everyone kind of makes a big deal out of it. I'm not sure that it's anything other than that. Joni, good morning. I thought you weren't able to do Monday mornings. Is it Monday? Just making sure. Maybe you have the day off. Tyler, good morning. Good morning to whoever else is here. My fourth was fine. I've been on vacation for the past couple of days. I didn't do any real vacationing though, other than just not having a rigorous schedule of doing stuff, work related stuff, podcast related stuff. I was able to like nap when I wanted to nap, which is like the only real upside. But other than that, it was just a lot of work. Good morning to Tyler, who's driving this morning. Felony, can you please tell me finally whether or not you actually got your merch? I've been asking multiple times and I cannot get an answer out of you. Joni says, I took the day off to bring my kiddo to the doctor in a bit, so I'll only be here a short time. Well, I hope everything's okay. Felony, if you want to let me know just with a comment whether or not you actually got your stuff, that would be good. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else to bring you up to speed on. I'll probably just go ahead and get to the memes. Once again, StreamYard has changed everything about the way that it does. So she says, I got my sweatshirt last week, still waiting on the t-shirt. That has taken a long time, hasn't it? When did you order that stuff? Didn't you order that in like May? End of May? Joni said she ordered some stuff and she hasn't gotten her t-shirt. I don't like that. I know that Jenny ordered a t-shirt and she got the t-shirt already. So ordered it May 24th. You need to get in touch with them because you're already plus 1 month at this point. That's ridiculous. And as I said, Felony, someone in the interval time since between when you ordered has ordered a t-shirt. I know this because Jenny asked me to put the design from one onto the product of another so that she could have a long sleeve tee or something. She already ordered that and she already got it. So something's wrong, Felony Melanie. You need to get in touch with them on that because you need to have that by now. I don't know exactly when the sweatshirt came, as it was when I was in Vegas. But why are they sending you one thing in your order? Right? I mean, unless you ordered multiple times, you paid for shipping. It should all be shipped at once. I'm assuming you should have received that. I don't like hearing that people are having problems. That's why we held off having merch for so long. And we only brought in merch because we felt like we had turned a corner with, I guess to be honest, the astounding amount of views that we were getting in June, May and June. Now we're kind of regressing towards an average, I guess you could say, on our views. They're two separate order numbers. So still, you should not be waiting anymore because other people have ordered t-shirts in the interval time. I don't want to see you guys having problems with the merch store. I doubt there's anything I can do, but other than just encourage you to don't be too patient because when you buy that stuff, they should send it to you. Good morning, Lauren. Everything is separate order numbers. Everything is separate shipping. Why would it work that way? That's horrible. I guess because they're made to order, and they don't want your if it takes X amount of time to make a coffee mug, and it makes X plus 2 amount of time to make a T-shirt or something else, they don't want your order just sitting around. That's the only reason I could think of. Anyway, I'm not happy to hear that. Recipes should include photos of the mess you have to clean up after cooking. I think this one might have been one from last week, but absolutely. If you only knew how ugly and how messy this was going to be, you probably wouldn't even attempt it. It reminds me of a favorite quote of mine from an author, and I'm paraphrasing, but it has something to do with how God hides how difficult life will be from children. You know, when you're born, you have no idea how hard it's going to be to be alive. And he says, God hides the truth about life from children because if they knew from the start, they would have no heart at all. Like they would have no heart to go about life. Like if a kid was born and he was born with the wisdom or the knowledge to know how hard life was going to be, they wouldn't even bother. As a kid, I thought Simba was crazy to run after Mufasa was killed, but after watching so many true crime docs, I get it. It does look like he lured his dad into that gorge. Witnesses heard him sing, "I just can't wait to be king." Good prosecutor could get a conviction with that. Yeah, he had all the motive in the world, means, motive, and opportunity. He had all of those things. He was even heard bragging about planning the crime. Well, I guess maybe not planning. Loving the new apartment, buddy. Is that AC unit installed in the window correctly? Kicks it as hard as I can. Feels good, solid. Kicks it again. Little wiggle that time. Kicks it again. It felt great the first time I kicked it as hard as I could. Detective Spaghetti, this isn't your case. But this is my house. Detective, no. Oh, it's personal. Detective Spaghetti. Oh, this is so weird. I don't know. Sounds like me. Realizing I was wrong. Perhaps I was right in a new and unusual way. It's entirely possible that that's true. Guy who's literally seconds away from taking a toaster bath. Living the dream. Here we go. I've always been charmed by people who are very happy they reached the end. It's like the old saying goes, the customer's always wrong, and it's legal to kill them. I'm not sure that it's exactly right. You know, what's funny is that I learned recently, and this is just for your edification, because what else is anything for here? The original phrase, the customer is always right, that's only half the phrase. I'm sure you've heard that phrase, the customer is always right. The original phrase was, the customer is always right in matters of taste. In matters of taste. So this was to let staffers at a restaurant know that if a patron of a restaurant sends back a dish for whatever reason, they're correct. Whether their steak is underdone, overdone, their salad has too much vinaigrette on it, or there's not enough flies in their soup, whatever it is, they're right in matters of taste. So when it comes to changing their dish to their liking, that's always correct. That has become extrapolated to the customer is always right at Target or whatever, and no, the customer is not always right there. And I think we should find the person who changed or abbreviated that saying, and we should put them to death, because if you've ever worked retail or anywhere that has interaction with the entitled society that we have, I think that you would understand that. else we got? They should invent a type of situation that improves. That seemed like a lot. A type of situation that improves, is that just something that we can't figure out how to get one of those? You just go around and around and around until you go broke, like if you're bad at Monopoly. The only good feeling left is when you're eating an amazing sandwich and you still have another half left. Yeah, that's probably one of the only things I'm still going for. Good morning, Elijah. Everyone still have all of their fingers? That's a good question. Everyone here seems pretty smart. I don't think anyone here would have blown up their hands. All accounted for. So 5. That's all I could ever expect around here is an audience of 5. We're all accounted for. Good thing because your 18-year-old kiddo went to Wisconsin and got the good ones. Yeah. Wisconsin also, lots of drinking there. I'm always worried that the alcohol is going to be a reason why that goes south. Foxy's doing her own thing. That's fine. I think the most I've ever seen in here at one time was 10 anyway. The only good feeling you have left is when you're eating an amazing sandwich and you still have another half. This one came up, and I just don't know what to make out of it. Why would Spider-Man punch a cop in the nuts? It's just... And the thing is that I think Larry Lieber was the newspaper comic strip artist. So what are we doing here, Stan Lee? Why are you writing a story where Spider-Man does this to someone? And how can this run in the newspaper? Anyway. But what if your baby really likes being alone in the hot car? Well, I did. My mom would leave me alone in the car. Not when I was a baby, but, all throughout my childhood. And it's not to be discounted. I can remember, passing out being in the car before. She would go and do things, run errands, whatever, and just leave us in the car with no air conditioning. And we grew up in Virginia, and it was very hot there. And I can remember occasions where I would sit in the car and pass out. Why should I ever learn to cook when I have cereal, which is a meal, a dessert, and a drink? One of my earliest memes on here was the one where Grover, from the Muppets, is being questioned, or he's questioning someone about whether or not the milk in cereal is a beverage or a broth or some other third option. And we never really resolved that here. But I guess it's a meal, a dessert, and a drink. So the internet is largely bad. I find out this is true. I woke up this morning to a message. I woke up and first thing I got on Instagram was this guy saying the most rude thing to me. And it's just like, you just get on, people just get on the internet and they just talk shit to people they would never talk that way to in real life. I know that he doesn't talk that way to people in real life because what civilized person would? But people just say the most savage shit on the internet, and it's just like, I almost think that's who people really are, though. In some sense, we say, well, you're not really like that because you're a keyboard warrior. You would never talk to me that way in real life. But that's who they are when they're completely uninhibited and uncensored, and it's pretty. Most people are pretty unhinged. I say a lot of things on the internet and comment sections and things, but I don't threaten people. A lot of times I have really good comebacks, and then I remember I got Jesus, and I can't talk that way to people. I guess I just need to remember that a lot of people don't got him. So, the internet's pretty horrible place. A lot of people really horrible. It definitely makes me not want to do the internet anymore. Because why do I import all this negativity into my life? I mean, you look at the comment sections from our Karen Reed videos on comments on Com Center, and it's just like, I'm not getting paid and this is what I'm getting out of it? Come on. So the internet is largely bad. The real world is not great right now. Well, it never has been. Don't fool yourself. Where am I supposed to hang out at? Hang out in my own mind, the worst of the three? I'm dissociating quite a bit lately. Spider-Man, that's awesomely hilarious. Why would he do that though? What would be his reasoning? He's actually going for his gun, but in 2D. Why would he go for his gun? Like a sauna, my sister burned my hand with a cigarette lighter when we were left alone in the car. Yes, yes. You could back in the day, Joni, and I don't know if it was as I don't know where you're from as a child, but I remember like the belt buckles, the seat belt buckles on a car could literally burn your skin. It would be so hot in the car, like the metal part where the clasp is or whatever. If that touched you. But yes, also we would play with the cigarette lighters too. There's something about the smell of the cigarette lighter in a car. Um, it's so hot you could smell it. And yet that was just right there. No big deal. We were left in the car as well. Boy. What does that mean about all of us? We were all left in the car. Good morning, Foxy. Glad you're here. I still have the scar. I imagine you do. Those things do not get better. Jesus, this song is good. Plays it 400 times in a row until all the emotion is squeezed out from it forever. That's better. Now, who else wants to try to make me feel something? I used to think that I was kind of weird for listening to songs on repeat, but then I'm like, but this thing has a repeat function. Like, that's what it's for, right? Like, and I'm talking about like a CD player. Like, you could listen on repeat to a track over and over and over again. I used to think I was weird for doing that, but I don't think I was the only one that ever did that. Case in point, one time we drove across the country in 2002. We drove from Virginia to where kind of the area where I live now. And I drove with my mother and my three sisters, and they had the CD player with them. Again, this is in our Dodge Caravan that didn't have a CD player. So they literally have a CD player that runs on 6 C-cell batteries. And they had the new Backstreet Boys album. The one with Backstreet's Back, all right. And they listened to that the entire way. And I was listening to a Limp Bizkit album on my Discman on my headphones. And I listened to that thing. It was a 24-hour drive, and I listened to that album over and over and over again to drown out the Backstreet Boys. And I don't even like Limp Bizkit that much. It was just an album that I had. Anyway, listen to it on repeat. I don't think Limp Bizkit music ever made me feel anything. Me staying alive for my friends despite being constantly suicidal. Oh, look at me, Marge. I'm making people happy. In case you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic. Yeah, doesn't seem like hanging around for those other people really doesn't make sense when you think about it. Anyway. How did this one get in here? I honestly don't think that I meant to load this one up. It just randomly got mixed in with them. Ladies, if he asks about how your day is going every day, supplies you with all your needs, wants God to be a central part of your relationship, prays for you when you walk away, he is not your man. He is a Chick-fil-A worker. Please stop holding up the line. I don't recall seeing this one this week. I don't know how that one got loaded up. Eclipses don't impress me. I'm abruptly overcome by darkness every day. I don't think I saw this one this week either. I must have come across like a a stash of them from way back that I never showed or something. Somehow they got thrown in the mix. I like going to the cemetery early in the morning because if you're calm and patient, the skeletons will approach and even eat right out of your hand. Aw. Yeah, I had a grandfather who could charm a squirrel out of a tree. You better hope this email finds you before I do, you son of a bitch. Wish we could talk this way to people. But then I guess I would be that horrible person online that I was mentioning this morning. I feel like if I said this to someone, I would only say it to a friend. I would never say this to someone who I actually thought was a son of a bitch. Doctor says I need to be hooked up to a machine. Doesn't know what kind yet. Just definitely some kind of machine, he says. Is that because I present really acute symptoms, or is it because my insurance is bad? Could be a mix of both. Let's get you hooked up to a machine. Some kind of machine. Mugger pulls a knife. Give me your money. Well, this night took a sharp turn. Later. This is a record amount of stabs. Mugger doesn't appreciate your puns. There's one 4th of July that always sticks out for me, 1997. That's the year my stepdad pulled me aside from the fireworks show to reveal he bought a grenade. He tossed it off a cliff, and just he and I saw it, just the two of us. And I started calling him Dad. The man earned it. The person replying was, that was a dark year for me. Me and my dad were at the Grand Canyon on the 4th of July, and then out of nowhere, he just blew up right beside me. Whoops. You know what's funny is the way that people find things out about things. Because I was at 911 once, and I didn't personally do this, but someone on the shift before me took a call from someone who says they found a grenade. And so the call for service is open when I get to work. Such and such person says they found a grenade. And I didn't find it that interesting. But then later, someone from the ATF is calling and they're like, yeah, this is, Chuck Solberg calling from ATF in Chicago. Just got a call that you had somebody out there who had found a grenade. And I'm just like, who the fuck told you, ATF? I'm guessing that we gave it to a deputy who probably had a contact somewhere at the ATF, and it makes sense. But I don't know. I just felt like, so we have someone in a small town that reports finding a grenade, and an ATF agent is literally calling about it. I mean, I guess it's literally their job. I don't know why I was surprised by that. I guess I just felt like, a cop should go and seize the grenade, and then nothing should ever come up about it ever again. I don't know what I expected. That's a weird story. I like to tell people how I'm really doing so they stop asking. I do that all the time. I used to do that on the show on Com Center a lot. Back when we still had banter before all the random people started saying, when are they going to get to the point and stop bantering? But Drew would ask me how I'm doing, and I'm like, terrible. Thanks for asking, And I used to do that quite a bit at my job too. But I would tell them like, oh, I'm awful. Can't wait for the sweet embrace of the grave. How are you doing? And then, kind of put them off from talking to me. For me, the best part of depression is remaining charming around strangers, but saving the misery for the ones who love you. That's what I do now. I realized it did me no favors to do that. So, now I put on all the charm. And by the way, the people who are around me daily, if only they knew that I'm claiming to be charming. But I can't save the misery for the ones who love me because there is no one that is doing that. McDonald's got an attitude today. 1 second, motherfucker. 3 $3.79. Gotta wait. $3.79. We saw Spider-Man punching somebody in the dick earlier for no reason. Batman on the phone. If this is your idea of a joke, your humor is sadly misplaced. Good day, sir. Can you imagine someone prank calling Batman? It's pretty strange. This has to be from the Batman comic book too, because I think, what are we looking at here? This is a classic Batman artist from the 70s. And now we've seen both Batman and Spider-Man. Green Lantern. Incredible. But I still don't understand. I used to have a cop that was like this. You would get on the air and you would explain everything to him, and it wouldn't be complicated. Any unit position, you're needed at 123 Main Street. For domestic in progress, 2 parties involved, 2 children not involved. No weapons seen, alcohol not involved. No history of protection orders, verbal only at this time. Suspect, parties are separated. Suspect is leaving the scene in a red Chevy Cavalier. Last seen headed northbound on Main Street. And I would put all that out. It'd be pretty easy to understand. And then this one deputy would be like, he would call me by my call sign. What's going on? And I'd be like, for fuck's sakes, why don't you listen when I talk? Were you talking that whole time? Let me get this straight. What happened? God damn it. I'll just say it all over again. When someone in your DMs says you've seen a meme you've already, sends you a meme you've already seen, I am 50 memes ahead of you and everyone else. This is me. I'm 50 memes ahead of you. There's really only one person I know of that keeps up with me in memes. I was off for the 4th of July. Praise the Lord. I was off on the 3rd of July and the 2nd of July. So I've been off for the past 5 days. I've missed the whole 4th of July debacle. I didn't have to do any of that shit. I mean, there were some fireworks calls, but nothing too bad. I missed all of it. Fireworks or gunshots? Was that fireworks or gunshots that just went off? It was me shooting my gun at the fireworks. Fireworks are going off. Return fire. Anyway, I'm just glad I didn't have to do any of that. That would have been really irritating for me. And it just, I've worked plenty of 4ths, so I feel like it's fine. Freak on a leash on a school trip to the Space Museum. You said this 9 minutes ago, so now I don't. Oh, is that the music you were listening to? Freak on a leash on a school trip to the Space Museum. I would never listen to music on a bus because I would need to. When I was in high school, I was always in threat assessment mode. I was always listening and paying attention to everyone around me all the time, even if I looked dissociated. Sorry, that's true. I wasn't being sarcastic. That's what Homer says in that clip. In case you can't tell, Marge, I was being sarcastic. Guess you're not a big Simpsons fan. You're like your John. Sad, but we all love you. Is this what love is? Is this what everyone's making a big deal about? I don't think so. I don't think that what's happening right now is the stuff of 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 6,000 years of poetry and of songs. I don't think what's happening is love. Yeah, I've seen this comparison before. I wouldn't report a grenade. You keep that thing for emergencies. Oh yeah, who's reporting that they found a grenade? That's a better question. I'm awful and question my existence. So what is your emergency? Yeah, sometimes I make them really defend themselves against me. Like, yeah, well, that's nothing compared to what I'm going through, bub. I go to work, make my coworkers wonder what the fuck is wrong with me, and then I clock out. I wonder if they wonder what the fuck is wrong with me. I think some days, on Sundays, I'm sure they wonder that because Sundays are my Mondays, and when I come in, I do not want to be there. But then there are other days that are like that throughout the week. Um, I don't know. I've just become very antisocial lately, and I don't feel like work is the place where I go to have friends. So I think that they do that, and I don't. I believe whatever I come up with in my head because why would I lie to myself? That's a good point. Why would I lie to me? Could think of no reason why I would do that. I feel like I trust me. I definitely trust me. Hi, Margaret. I hope this email blows your tits clean off. I don't normally say the word tits, but I found this one very funny. Hi, Margaret. I hope this email blows your tits clean off. Do I love my coworkers? No. But are they really good at their job and make my life easier at work? Also, no. No, they do not do those things. Um, they give me reasons to seethe with anger. I feel like water solves so many problems. You want to lose weight? Drink some water. You want clear skin? You need to be drinking more water. Don't let a person drown them. Amazing. It's really the universal solvent. We were all taught that in chemistry class. It turns out to be true. Treat spiders the way you want to be treated. Killed without hesitation. Do it. Just get her done. I don't want to be rehoused. I don't want to be sent away. I don't even want to be admired as a curiosity. Just kill me. I apologize to everyone whose grammar I ever corrected before I learned not to be a tool. You're forgiven. You're really sweet to do that. Thanks. I've tried to not be so much of a grammar Nazi. People still think that I am a grammar Nazi, or they think that my personality is inclined to be a grammar Nazi. And in the past, I was very rule oriented. I was very order oriented. Very much so. I was very much a rules person. But I think something changed in me when I became 30 years old, and it had nothing to do with my age. It's just the time when it happened. But I realized that everything's made up, and I don't give a fuck anymore. Spelling's all made up. I don't know how you can actually spell anything incorrectly. One of my favorite authors, I mentioned him already in this podcast, same author, but he wrote this book called The Road. And I don't know if you could see this, but this really has no punctuation in it, hardly any commas, periods, but there's not even there's no quotation marks, there's no attribution. No, there's a lot of there's like no capitalization in certain places. There should be some. It's one of the best writers ever. His name's Cormac McCarthy, and very highly renowned author. Wrote great books. One of the most brilliant writers I've ever seen. Doesn't give a fuck about any of that uh, stuff that we were taught in college. The way you properly format a text, the way that what is it? American Language Arts, AMA format. All these things. I spent so much time. We wasted so much time trying to figure out the proper formatting for things and how to do punctuation correctly. And none of it matters as long as the person who's reading your work can understand what you're saying. It's fine. My sister sent me this meme the other day about how important the Oxford comma is, and it's just like she does this kind of just to get under my skin, I guess. But I'm like, use it if you want it, I guess. I feel like it's this idea that this rigidity that you have to make things absolutely perfect to be a good writer or whatever. It's like, are you right? If you have a story to tell someone and you're going to write it, are you going to format it so that it passes the scrutiny and then the approval of people who read literature like they're grading a paper? Or are they going to read it as a piece of literature, as a work, as a piece of art? So I don't care so much about spelling mistakes and spelling errors anymore because I'm on another level. I don't give a fuck. I want to read an interesting story, and I don't care if your marks or your spelling is 100% right. I don't care. It's all made up anyway. The fact that Canadians can spell check with a Q or color with a U or whatever is all further proof of that. Sorry for that diatribe. The first day as a pizza delivery man. By the way, I have delivered food and nothing good ever happened to me. I just want to say that. Cute girl, I don't have cash for the pizza, but perhaps I can pay you some other way. She drops the towel. Nice. I've always wanted to have my own towel. No more air drying for me. There should be a corner at Home Depot where a guy with a table saw will slice you off custom lengths of hot dog from an infinite hot dog coming out of the wall. The only part of it I don't like is where the hot dog comes out of the wall. I feel like it should maybe be on a conveyor belt or something. That would be nice. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you guys want to have a piece of an infinite hot dog? It's the stuff dreams are made out of. In elementary school, when we would have to read out loud to the class from the textbook, I would literally count the kids in front of me and figure out what section I was reading so I could practice it before I got to my turn. And I think that's where my anxiety started. I used to do this. We would do this in elementary sometimes. We'd have to all read part of a story. And then we did it again in ninth grade. And I remember when I got to ninth grade, this was after 3 years of not going to school. I didn't go to school 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Just didn't go. I got to ninth grade and I was in the English class, and I just could not believe what poor readers there were in my class. I just couldn't believe it, how bad they were. And sure enough, the second semester of my freshman English class, I got put in honors English. And I got an F in that. I didn't like doing the work. I didn't like the teacher. I was kind of rebellious about it. I don't know. I can't explain why I failed that class. I felt like because there was such a huge divide between regular English and an honors English, I actually kind of belonged somewhere in the middle. Like my reading skills were fine, but it's like all of a sudden we're like dissecting Shakespeare, and it's just like I don't have a head or a mind or an interest in this. And I don't know why we were doing Shakespeare. We were doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is like a filthy sex comedy in ninth grade. It's completely replete with dick jokes. I think that teachers sometimes just think, well, it's Shakespeare, it's got to be good, or like there's something worth learning in this. But what's the point of learning iambic pentameter if you're never going to become an English major or get your degree in that? I think I also hated that class because I was called upon to write a lot of essays that would be like, oh, like, what was something fun you did over the summer? And it's just like, I didn't do anything fun over the summer. I didn't know how to school or game the system back then. So I would not give them what they wanted to hear. I can remember later, this must have been 10th grade English, maybe 11th. But I remember like being prompted to write an essay about ways in which my family celebrates our culture. And then I just wrote like, oh, we're white. We don't have culture. My family doesn't do anything, I could have just said like every 4th of July, we have hot dogs and sparklers. Like that would have been good enough. But I always kind of had to rebel and push back. And I wasn't very smart at playing or gaming the system, and I don't know. I struggled in school for reasons that no one should ever have to struggle. But I would practice the section where I would have to read, so I would be ready to do that. I have so many thoughts that they all cancel each other out, and I come up with a net zero at the end. Yeah, I'm such a big thinker. That's why nothing I have to say is valuable. Was the email strapped to the grenade? I don't know what you mean by that. Water is amazing. Yes, that book would cause me to have a stroke. Why? Why would that book cause you to have a stroke? My favorite author, whom I hate for opening my eyes to the rules of the Matrix. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but Infinite Hot Dog is a great band name, John. I hate reading out loud. Well, don't do that then. John would have been looking at my poor reading and judging. Yes, I did do that. Um, I don't do that so much now, but I used to view reading proficiency as a key metric of intelligence. I know now that it's not. I know that people are intelligent in a lot of different ways, and that judging someone for how good they are at reading is like judging me based off of how good of a singer I am. I'm terrible at singing. I don't understand music. Don't have a mind for it. And so now I realize that you know, language proficiency is not necessarily an indicator of those things. Mathematics, same too. I don't have any proficiency in mathematics or music, but I'm good at speaking and writing. But they don't necessarily mean anything. Still can't believe I saw a Michigan license plate. Why is that a big deal? Are they not allowed to cross over? I guess where I live, Tyler, I see Canadian license plates all the time. Why does that surprise you? So far from me. It's not that far. All right. Well, I guess I'm glad that you're paying attention. I've kind of got a eye for license plates too. I'm always noticing strange ones or out of place ones. Is the natural state of the soul quiet or chaos? The Taco Bell cashier says, "Look, buddy, it's transient, like shifting water. It's ephemeral, I would say, constantly changing." All right. That's it for the memes today. A little bit light on the memes. Anybody have anything else for me before they go? I feel like I should plug the merchandise, but I also opened the show by mentioning how people are not getting their merchandise. So make sure that you are touching base with them, ask for your stuff, hound them a little bit. I don't think it's a problem. You paid for it. Make sure that gets delivered to you. I don't want anyone to associate unfulfillment of orders with me. So I wish I could do something to help, but not much else I can do. The taco sage. I have seen some people work at Taco Bell who weren't very good readers in ninth grade. Any day I should get first item of merch. Well, first of all, let me just say thank you to everyone who has purchased merchandise. I appreciate that. Why don't I take a look at my merch sales? Let me see how good it's been. I don't even know if I've made a lot of money or where we are at with that. So let's have a look. I am not a robot. I have to tell CAPTCHA. I accept all the cookies. Let's look. Looks like not much is sold in the last month. Let's look in the last 6. Some people have placed some orders. Looks like somebody bought the temporary tag die cut stickers. I think that was you, Tyler. I changed them a couple days ago. The primary logo is what's really selling well. People really like that one. So it's kind of too bad that I went to all this trouble to design all these other things. I mean, I guess they're selling, but I don't know. You guys tell me what you want. If you, I know that everyone here seems to have purchased some merchandise or has thought about it and decided not to, since I've talked about it quite a bit. But if you want something, let me know. I can make it available for you. Other than that, guys, we'll be back here on Thursday night. I think we're talking about Brian Koberger. I think we're sad that we don't get to talk about that for any length of time because I'm guessing that would have been a case where it would have looked like Karen Reed, with people saying the police planted things and the police failed to test DNA evidence and Brian Koberger was innocent and a crime so egregious the police had to hang it on somebody. The Free Brian Koberger movement. Batman and Wolverine in a cop car. You've mentioned this before. The thing is, Wolverine smoking a cigar is not it's not subversive. He smokes all the time. It's hard to draw them in a cop car because they both have masks that have pointy things on them. And what I meant by, what did you want? I guess I wasn't trying to imply that I was commissioning new drawings. But like word marks, things like that stuff I already have. Also, I don't know what Batman and Wolverine have to do with the comm center. So in what sense is it merch for the show? If you really want to see this, if you really like this idea, you should maybe commission a comic book artist to do it. I know that many of them are on Instagram, and if there's an artist you like, a lot of them take commissions, and you could drop a couple $100 and you could have a professional piece of artwork that would make you happy. But yeah, I think that's it for me. Thanks for watching this episode. I'm a little bit tired today. I woke up really early. I'm looking at an artist I like. If that's a compliment to me, then I accept that. Thank you. I don't feel like much of an artist anymore. I feel like ChatGPT has, I feel like AI has surpassed me. I feel like there's a certain class of artists out there that are never going to be surpassed by AI. Right? These are the guys who literally make comic books. Jim Lee, Lee Weeks, John Romita Jr., John Romita, whoever your guys are. They're genuine. And then I feel like there's this underclass of people who are like me, who kind of do it for fun, but their end product is not really worth anything. And then AI can surpass me, and then I have no reason to exist artistically. That's where I feel like I'm at. I mean, if you look at some of the pictures I've been posting on Instagram lately, Lauren, I don't know if you're on Instagram, but there's some of my drawings that I have given to AI to improve, and it's just like, well, I feel no reason to ever again put pencil to paper because someone can just sit down with ChatGPT and say, yeah, I want to see a picture of this, and then it makes that, and it's better than what I can make. So it's like, I'll just hang up my pencils. So I think maybe if you want to see those things, maybe you should just tell ChatGPT that, because it can make you something fairly serviceable. And if you're willing to spend a little bit of time with it, explaining yourself to it, you can even refine that into something that you can really like. So, kind of a John Henry story. I've been put out of business by the steam shovel artistically. I don't really feel there's any reason for me to ever do that again, other than my own pleasure. What? Why are people saying my name? That's troubling. You make my name into a swear word when you do that. But I prefer real art to AI, even if you can't tell the difference. There's no emotion behind AI art. Well, just tell it to have more emotion. You could do that, change the expression so that it's more visceral. We don't care about your feelings on AI. All right. Mean. Uh, what should I even say about that? Let me see if I can upload the picture from today, uh, or one of the other ones that I've done. Let's see if it'll work. I don't know if the file size is too big. AI made this. You need to tell me that has no emotion? Maybe you don't care about comic book art, or maybe you don't care about Wolverine, or what it means to live your life, um, not being able to die and watching all your friends die, and the pain of having claws come out of your hands, and your whole, everyone trying to exploit you for your usefulness as a living weapon. I totally get all this from looking at this picture done by AI. And you say there's no emotion. I just told it to put some emotion in there. And there it is. So I don't know. It's based off of a drawing I did, but I mean, uh, yeah. I think if you told it there's a sad looking tree, it would make that. I think you guys better just spend some time with AI. Anyway, I appreciate the compliments. I'll never win you over, I guess. That's fine. We can just agree to disagree. Unless you don't agree to that, in which case we don't. But we'll see you back here on Thursday night, I believe with Brian Koberger, if you're up for that. And if not, I think that's what we're doing anyway. So we will see you then. Thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit today. I hope that it improved your day a little bit. I hope it added some value to your day. Otherwise, there's no reason to watch. So hope you guys go out and have a good day, no matter what it is you're doing. Have a good one. And I will see you here next time. Thanks so much for watching, as always.